Hello, hello, everybody. All right, as we get started, I'm so excited to have you here. My name is Kristine. I am from Reinvent Your Hustle. I'm just going to let people stream in here really quick. We are going to be talking about Pinterest today, and it is going to be amazing. I'm so excited to have you here. So when you get here, be sure to say hello, introduce yourself, and I am going to get started very shortly. Also, stay on till the end. I'm giving away 3 free Starbucks cards to those people that stay on till the end because everybody loves a good latte. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, so we're going to get rocking here. Let me grab my notes because any good speaker would have her notes next to her, right? All right. Let's get rolling. If you're here, say hello. Sometimes the comments don't work, so let me actually pull this up on my phone to make sure that I know what you're saying, because ultimately what's so important is if you're chatting with me, then I need to know so I can answer your questions. I will be answering questions and taking them in this event. So that being said, let's get rocking. All right, so what are we talking about today? So Pinterest could completely explode your business growth. That is what is so amazing. You know, I started diving into this and I realized how incredible growth can be, right? And I've seen that personally. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to talk a little bit about how viral Pinterest is. I know firsthand, because I work with clients every single day, that you are in a space where you want more leads, you want more traffic, you want more clients, you want more sales, right? And I know you want to grow organically. And the beautiful piece about Pinterest is that it is going to allow you to grow organically without spending any money, right? And we always want to make sure that we're working smarter, not harder. So that being said, I am a massive fan of Instagram, but I know the power of Pinterest. And so it's like, okay, well, where do you put your time in as a business owner, right? We only have so much time. We're solopreneurs. We got to rock this. So that being said, what we're going to talk about today, if Pinterest isn't better than Instagram and the considerations that you should be thinking about, what to use Pinterest for, and then my 4-step process of leveraging Pinterest for service-based entrepreneurs. Now, what I will say, this is totally for you if you have a product-based business, so keep listening. But the key here, what I'm going to say is that I work with a lot of coaches, creatives, helpers, healers, and so I want to make sure I'm speaking to them as well. And so just to give you a quick intro, I'm Kristine. I'm from Reinvent Your Hustle. I help coaches, creatives, healers, helpers grow their business strategically and get really clear on their niche and really clear where they're going. And then I help those next level entrepreneurs that really want to elevate their brands get clear on how to authentically attract their customers and sell out their programs on Pinterest. So that being said, let's jump in. Let's get started because we don't have much time. If you have any comments, questions, please put them in the chat. I want to be able to get to your questions. If you're wondering if Pinterest is right for your business, I'm going to walk through and probably answer a few questions. However, be sure to comment and I will get to them. So first and foremost, like I said before, I'm giving away 3 free Starbucks cards at the end of this. So make sure to stay on until the end. It's about 30 minutes. Let's get rolling. So Pinterest pins are 100 times more spreadable than a tweet, which is crazy, right? With our average retweet only hits like 1.4. And when it comes to Facebook, when we think about all of our Facebook efforts that we put in, the half-life of a Pinterest pin is 1,600 times longer than a Facebook post. Okay, this is crazy, right? Neil Patel, if you haven't heard of him, he's freaking brilliant. Check him out. But the facts don't lie, you guys. A lot of people think that Pinterest is social media, but really what Pinterest is a search engine. And so Pinterest right now is the 4th largest social media platform in the United States. That position is expected to continue to rise. It's best used to grow your audience and reach people faster. And I've seen that in my business. I've seen that from a lot of different people that I've also spoken with. So that being said, let's talk about that. Is Pinterest better than Instagram? What are they both used for and how do you use them effectively? So people use Pinterest as a discovery tool. We know that. Like when you think about your own behavior and what you do, you probably type into the search bar in Google and Images pop up if you go to the images tab. Videos pop up if you type in video and you go to YouTube. And if you type in your question, then you might get some word feedback, right? Typically when images come back, when you add alt images or alt text to your images in Pinterest, that's why they're searchable. And so that's why it's so powerful and becomes a search engine, because people visually are looking for information. Video is actually increasing on Pinterest as well. So all of that being said, Pinterest is a discovery tool. So they use Pinterest to find out about new brands, about new products, inspiration, how-tos. So it's best to grow visibility and increase your audience and get more people to know about you. That being said, a lot of people on Pinterest are looking for value instead of looking for personal connection. So when I say it's not necessarily for social media connection, that's because people are looking for how-tos and answers. Okay, what do we got here? Hi, Amber. So happy to see you here. Do you make a separate Pinterest post, or is it best to share a blog post? I'll talk about that in 1 second, but when you're creating a blog, you should actually be creating a significant amount of posts associated with it. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But very, very good question. So like I said, they're looking for how-tos and they're also looking to buy. So pinners, aka Pinterest users, are buyers, just to be very clear. So this platform is a lot different than Instagram when we think about the approach and how people are using it and their behavior today. So the question that I always get is Pinterest just for Etsy and Shopify sites? What I've also heard is, right, I use Pinterest all the time to find new recipes, but I've never thought about it for my business. I don't have an Etsy store online or sell crafty things. I'm a health coach. So how is this going to help grow my business, right? Well, obviously, here's what I say back. I don't have an Etsy shop. Like, I'm a business coach. I'm a business strategist. But what I will say is I get more traffic combined from Pinterest. Like literally 90% of my traffic comes from Pinterest. And some of these, literally probably more than half of them, are already a year old. So when I say that your pins live for longer, that's because they actually do. And it's totally true. I get more traffic from Pinterest than I get from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and organic Google search all combined. So that being said, let's jump in. Which one's better for your business? When you think about Instagram, it's best for engagement. It's all about deepening that connection with your audience. And it's really, really good for that one-on-one connection, right? And so when we think about Pinterest, it's actually better for growing visibility and getting more people to know about you in a faster way. It broadens that awareness, right? We all know that if you've been on Instagram, it's very difficult to get people from your Instagram to click on your bio, click on through to your website, and then to get them to even click on your opt-in and to get them on your email list. Like all of those clicks and behaviors are very difficult, right? And so from Instagram to go to your products, whether it's your courses, your coaching programs, that's very difficult to achieve that. But on Pinterest, it's a little bit different. So this platform is meant to drive traffic to your website. It is meant to encourage purchasing behavior. And so because it's built for driving traffic to sites, when you think about your own traffic, I want you to think about, are people reading your blog posts? The whole point of Pinterest is to build trust and to give them exposure, right, to what you're doing. And so when we think about Instagram, it's more about the pretties. When we think about Pinterest, it's like, I want to learn how to do something, so teach me. So they are instilling trust by clicking on your pin and clicking through to your website. It's built for traffic and to drive traffic. When you're thinking about your own traffic, where are you right now? So I want you to ask yourself this question. Are you getting people to read your blog posts? Are you getting people to engage with your videos, to watch those videos? If people aren't aware of your website, then you need to get yourself on Pinterest, because what's happening is if you don't have an audience, you're sick of paying for ads, or if you're investing, and God forbid, if you're investing in ads and you're not clear on your message and how to connect with them authentically, right? You're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and that's not fun either. So ultimately, in order to grow visibility, this is literally a way to get free traffic and visibility to your site, getting them to know you and get them on your email list. All right, let's see a question here. How do I create a rich pin? When I pin from my Shopify site or Etsy, I still get 3 to 5 views when I look at my stats. So that's automatically pinning, right? And it's pulling in all the data. So it's also, it depends on what you're putting in the back end on your actual website. And so you have to think about And that's something I can go into detail later if you want to touch base one-on-one. But ultimately, whatever's on your website, if you're pinning directly from your website, it's going to pull that alt text and information in. And so you want to make sure that it's set up properly on the front end. But we'll keep going. And if you want to reach out and DM me, we can chat about that. All right. So that being said, why Pinterest, right? Well, to generate more targeted clients, more customer leads, to grow your email list on autopilot, right? To get your time back from having to post on social media every freaking day. And then to boost sales and conversions and increase global awareness, right? So these are all things you're like, yeah. What's the user base all about? So a couple of really important facts to mention is that because it is the fourth most popular social media platform, and there's over 235 million people, monthly users, you can open yourself up to that audience. And so 71% of users on Pinterest are females, which is huge if that's your market. 42% of women, adults in the US use Pinterest. That's a massive number, by the way, because you have to remember they're going there for how-tos. They're going there as a discovery process. 80% of US mothers who use the internet use Pinterest. 34% of Pinterest users earn between $50,000 and $75,000 a year. And then when we think about 94% of social media marketers are using Pinterest. So if you're a social media marketer, are you using Pinterest? Are you part of that, right? Because if you're not part of it, you're missing out on the game. 90% of weekly pinners have made purchase decisions on Pinterest. And 77% of weekly pinners have discovered a new brand or product on Pinterest. And what's really, really important about all of this is that when we think about the women that are on Pinterest, ages 25 to 34 represent 30% of Pinterest's ad audience. So it's very important to remember that when we look at the age ranges, is it fitting in within your business model, your target customer? The other thing I want you to consider is what to use Pinterest for. So Pinterest can be used and should be used to market your product and services, right? So more than 87% of Pinterest users have bought a product because of the site, making it a great opportunity for exposure. So let's talk about brand exposure and how to do it. Pinterest can boost your exposure to new customers. They have weekly reporting, so there's analytics that are built in. And what's really important about this, your biggest key takeaway about brand exposure is that the use of Pinterest for your business can expose you to a massive audience. And so because you're influencing buying decisions, it's very important you're clear on what your strategy is to get those customers, which means your pins need to have a strategy behind them. You can't just slap something up there and expect it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? So what's so important is they have to have a strategy behind them. You have to be very, very mindful about what you're putting in the descriptions, keywords, hashtags, etc. So the other thing that I want you to consider, Pinterest just recently changed the algorithm. So when we think about what we have to do now to get more traffic and more share, is they are upping the ante when it comes to story pins. So what are story pins? When you think about the swipe on Instagram and you have multiple images, that's a story pin. So they're giving those individuals more priority. They're also giving more priority to individuals that are creating video and putting video pins in. So you want to be aware of that factor as well. So Pinterest has gained over 1 million monthly active users in 2020, which means they're continuing to grow. It's not going away anytime soon. And also, people watch close to 1 billion videos a day on Pinterest. So none of that is going away. And if you want to play, those are some of the strategies and tactics that will help you to elevate your brand. The other really important fact, which doesn't sound important, but it is, and I'll tell you why, is that 95% of the searches are unbranded, which means they're not searching for specific products, right? Branded products. That allows you to play and have some skin in the game. So that means that pinners are open to discovering new products and ideas, and almost 9 in 10 people use them for Pinterest and for inspiration. And most people that were polled also said that they were trying new things based on what they found. So you can be part of that influence. And if you're really, really good at creating visually appealing pins, you can pull some skin out of that game. That's what I'm saying. So I have a four pillar process that I bring my clients through that is so important, right? Why is it important? Because you have to have a strategy behind your Pinterest goals, okay? So it's plan it, sell it, grow it, scale it. So we're going to talk through what that looks like. Number one, plan it. So as I said before, you need to work through your authentic messaging. You need to be very clear on who it is for before you put anything out there. And the reason is that your messages will directly bring in the type of person you're trying to attract. So it's very important to understand your content pillars. If you go to my website, I have a blog on content pillars. What I'm saying is your content pillars are those high-level topics that are important to you, or those top-level categories that relate to your business. And so you need to get very, very clear about your authentic message. When I did market research on Pinterest, every single person I talked to said it was so important to have authentic messaging. Well, in order to have authentic messaging, you need to know your point of view and what you stand for, especially if you're a service-based entrepreneur. You need to know the high-level topics that you cover and what makes you different, right? And that's how you're going to bring people in. Because if you say the same thing as Joe Schmo next door, they're not going to want to hang out with you, right? They're going to go to somebody else. You're just going to blend in. So it's all about planning top content, right? So top pillar content. And then planning it out seasonally as well, just like you would any marketing content. So identifying based on season, based on time of year, based on relevance, what am I going to be putting out there? And this is what you would do, I'm assuming, on Pinterest or if you're blogging, etc. And then you want to develop your process and understand, what does this look like when I start blogging? And I know someone had a question about that. We're going to touch on that in a second. So when it comes to selling it, right, it's all about stunning visuals. So this is a visual search engine. What you really want to consider is high quality photography. So if you don't have a good phone, you know what? Maybe time to invest, grab a camera. It's really easy to get some white background or foam core to put underneath to take some high quality images if you do have products, and even if you have services and you want to do laydowns, right? So high quality photography. Yes, you can use stock photography, but sometimes that gets a little old. So I'm just saying, like, if you want new, creative, robust images, that's what people are attracted to. It captures the eye and it brings them in. So beautifully designed graphics. You also want to think about what graphics are you putting out there and building a consistent brand. So I work with people when it comes to branding as well. And what's so important is that you have a consistent template or multiple templates that relate back to your brand. Very, very important. I want you to think about optimally sized visuals. So Pinterest pins are different than the size of an Instagram pin. And so they are giving favor to those that go within the rules of Pinterest, right? And so when you're creating your images, this may be in Canva, Photoshop, wherever you do that, you want to make sure that they're the right sizes for Pinterest. You want to be sure that you're thinking about bold colors and fonts. And so what does that mean to you in your branding? You want it to be consistent, but what you also want to make sure you're doing is capturing attention. And so for me, I have a couple of different templates that I stick to, and I just change up the verbiage. I'll test into it, but it's very important to have some bold, we'll call them accent colors that pop out that people can, that'll draw in the eye. Graphics that match your branding. So this is very important. If you don't already have a style guide, that's something to definitely look into. In my course, Reinvent Your Strategy, we go through that. But what's so important is that you have graphics that match your branding on a consistent basis, because it's just like anything, right? You see the swoosh, you know it's Nike. You see the Adidas triangle, you know it's Adidas. Like, you need people to start relating to your brand. And if you really want to make some money and have brand awareness, you're going to have to use consistent templates, consistent graphics, consistent logos. So make sure that you're doing that, and that's going to elevate you to the top, right? What I would also highly recommend is that you are creating, or you're pinning consistently. That's like a no-brainer. You have to pin consistently. And when I say that, that means every day. And that may feel like a struggle. That may feel like something that you have to do on a consistent basis that's too much. But there are systems to scale. There are systems to batch. And so I want you to think about it not as another chore, but just remember that you may get a lot of likes on Instagram for that one post, but that post does not live very long. And so when you think about the amount of time that your post lives on Pinterest, it gets a much larger audience over time. And so if we get sucked into that space of, oh, I pinned and I didn't see anything right away, it's not going to get you anywhere. You have to remember, this is a long game. You are not hunting, you are farming, okay? So you are farming, which means that you have to be patient and you have to put that out there. And as long as you're consistent, you're pinning every day, your content as well as other people's content. Diane, Pinterest baffles me. It's all good, girl. I got you. Let's just have a one-on-one. I'll help you out. But as long as you're pinning consistently, it's not that hard. And when you develop a process, and when I say that, like literally pen and scratch paper process, it's not that hard. So that being said, if you can pin consistently, it will help your visibility. Okay. And that's pinning your content as well as others. I'm a farmer. So you get this, right? We got to wait for it all to come in, but you got to be consistent about watering your crop, making sure there's nutrition going in, right? So you're taking care and maintaining. All right. So grow it. When we think about growing our Pinterest, it comes down to SEO. So we have to think about the captions that we're using, the hashtags and the keywords. It's the same thing that you're doing on Facebook and Instagram, you guys. This is not a hard thing. So what I want you to remember is that think about your business. Like, okay, what would people search if they were looking for this? So if I'm looking for earrings, right? If I'm looking for earrings, I would type in big gold earrings. What would pop up, right? And probably that's not very specific, but think about all the different things that people would search relevant to your particular pin. All I'm saying is here, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Diane. I paid $700 for a Pinterest course and I still don't get it. Here's the deal. All it is, it's reproducing. If you have Canva, you can reproduce content that you're creating on Instagram and Facebook and resize it for Pinterest. So what's brilliant about this is you should never be just creating for one platform. You can be creating for multiple platforms. Work smarter, not harder. And that's something that I can take offline. If anyone has questions, let's have a one-on-one. I put my link down in the chat. Let's have a one-on-one. We can talk through where you're at currently and where you want to go and how to get you there leveraging this platform. So focus on your SEO. And the best way to do that is to be very aware of what people are going to be searching relative to your content. I'll tell you one thing, if you're already blogging, if you're on WordPress, go to Yoast SEO and see what's actually pulling in. Like when you actually type in all of your descriptions, those are certain keywords that you want to be putting in. So pull those same keywords and make sure that you're using really rich keywords that you think people will be searching relevant to your content, okay? I also want you to think about industry keywords. So if you have questions on this, there are a couple of different generators. We can talk one-on-one too about, you can plug in a word that you're using relevant to your blog post, and they're going to just generate all the other words that will pop up in association to that word. So you can use a keyword generator as well. What's really important is that you're using them strategically in your pin titles as well, and descriptions, as well as in your board titles and descriptions, okay? Make sure that you're incorporating keywords properly and naturally, because what that's going to do is bring your pin to the top when people are doing a search. The other thing that's cool is that on Google, if you're making sure to put in keywords and enter ALT keywords in your pins, what's going to happen is they'll show up on a Google search. And so it's very important to be mindful that the words are almost as important as the image. But if the image is bad, it's not going to work out too hot. So be mindful of that too. What that's going to do though is expand your reach, right? Expand your reach of your Pinterest content, and that's going to increase the likelihood of eyes on your content. So the other piece I want you to think about is incorporating content marketing. What does that mean? Blog posts that are geared towards conversions are perfect to share on Pinterest. So think about gift guides, product roundups, tutorials, how-tos. People go to Pinterest for how-tos. So teach them something, give them value. If you have a product, talk about something else that relates to solving their problem. What other problem might they have, right? When you think about if you're a service, if you're a health coach, if you're any type of coach, you want to be teaching. That is your job. You are now a teacher. I know you didn't think going into coaching you'd become a teacher, but you are. And the next thing that you want to make sure you're doing, and this is so important, it doesn't just stop at Pinterest. You need to create captivating ways to literally bring that customer full journey in their purchase. So you have to build a strategy that takes the customers from awareness all the way over to purchase, right? So once a pinner shows interest, your content should take them through the marketing funnel from interest to decision to action. And what that means is that you need to make sure that you have your pin, it drives them all the way to your website or an opt-in. They get your opt-in, it drives all the way over to email, right? And then from email, then you have to sell them. And so that's what a funnel is. And ultimately, what's so important there, you guys, is that you get so clear on what that process looks like. And once you're clear, then you can start to scale it. So there's certain systems that you can invest in that are for automated pinning. There's certain systems that you can use to batch your content. And then when it comes to ads, another effective way is really to follow through on Pinterest is with ads. So Pinterest allows advertisers, you, the business, to target ads around keywords, interests, location, age, demographics, just like it does on Facebook. And you're going to have to try different types of ads to see what gains traction, but you can test it out based on a pin that's doing really well. You could take that same content and turn it into an ad. It doesn't need to be, don't work so hard to create ads, right? Use what's working already and then create it into an ad. And there's lots of different ways to do that. So all of that being said, you as a marketer, as a business owner, need to be on Pinterest and Instagram. They're used for two different purposes. And I would highly recommend that if you're interested in this process, I help service-based entrepreneurs meet their customers on Pinterest and authentically convert them through this 4-pillar process and help them sell at their programs. So I do that through what's called the Co-Creative Collective Mastermind. And what's beautiful about this is that we have a collective where we have a very intimate small group of women that grow together and are growing their brands together. And so if this is something that may pique your interest, I would love to chat about it with you, more so to understand your brand first and foremost and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, because it's all about connecting with the right people that can give you the next steps on how to do this, right? On how to take it to the next level. So all of that being said, I have my information in the chat. If you want to schedule a connection call with me, I would be honored. I would be honored to chat with you and just find out more about your business next week. We can talk through what your visions are, what your pain points are, how does Pinterest even relate to your business, and what strategies should you start using? So that being said, highly recommend you go there. Now, if you're still on, I want you to put your name in the chat. I want to see you here. And I'm going to give away 3 Starbucks gift cards right now. So please put your name in the chat so I can see you there. Say hello to me. And I am going to do a little giveaway and I'll email you after this. That being said, I can be reached on Instagram at Reinvent Your Hustle, guys. So check me out. I'm on there all the time giving tips and tricks. And what I do is I help you get super solid on that authentic strategy. So like I said, oh, there's Megan. Yeah, girl. So good to see you. So excited. Hello, everybody. Tell me if you're here. I see 10 people here, so make sure you're commenting in here. So happy this was helpful. Yes, I'm so happy that you found this helpful. What I want to make sure is that you're getting value at every time you see me. And I promise you that I will never leave you without value. So what's very important to me is you let me know. I'm going to reach out to you. Let's see, I have to pick 3 winners here. It's going to be really hard. All right, so I'm going to pick Polly. I saw Diane, and it looks like Stephanie. Awesome. So I'm going to email you guys. Thank you so much for showing up today for yourself and for me. I'm so happy you're working on the homework. Megan, we got to connect. But like I said, I have an amazing mastermind. I would love to have you guys talk through how this could potentially help you. I have a 4-pillar process that most likely, if you stayed this whole time, might be applicable to you. I'd love to talk through how this could help your business. So thank you so much for showing up today. And I will be emailing those winners. Thank you so much and have a great day. And again,